Welcome, everyone, to the inaugural Mentors Off Script. Sorry, we got to apologize for being about 10 minutes late. A lot of tech issues, first time doing this. But let's have a look at all our panelists today. They're just going to pop up on screen right now. And we're just going to quickly introduce these guys and, see who they are and then get started. So Minde, do you want to just talk a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, well, my name is Minde. I'm an owner of Double Impact Group. I don't know what to say. Been in the business. Well, I started as self-employed about 15 years ago, doing some sales and actually built a company. Having fun now. And have 3 kids, homeschool, travel, do crazy stuff. And run the business. And definitely enjoying this. And this is our first time. So it'll be quite cool to have a bit of a banter and maybe, share some experiences and maybe, we can help some other people, inspire some people and learn something ourselves. So.
Fantastic. Alice, would you like to go?
Hi, guys. Yeah, I'm Alice. Most of you do know me. I'm an owner partner at Double Impact Marketing. Started as well about 11, almost 12 years ago in the business. Ran my own company as well. After about 3 years and a bit of being in the business. I used to be a journalist and a teacher before, so done quite a few different things. What else can I say? I'm a little bit nervous. I don't know, it feels strange to be on air live, but it's exciting at the same time. So bring it on. It's going to be fun.
Fantastic. Marish, would you like to go?
Hi guys, how we doing? My name's Marish Scunthorbarlin. I'm the managing director of My Rubik's Limited. Been in the industry for about 10 years now. Run sales businesses for both residential B2B offices, different campaigns, and now super excited to get out of lockdown and get busy and get cracking again. So that's me.
Fantastic. Reese.
Hello guys, my name's Reese, Managing Director for Bellatrix Marketing. So I've been in sales for 4 years, and I've been running Bellatrix for just over a year now. Before that, I was doing hospitality, so loads of bars and restaurants and clubs, loads of fun times, and then changed the vodkas and wines for suits and ties. But also very excited for the next journey after this lockdown finishes and to get back up rocking and rolling. Should be good.
Fantastic. And Peter, penultimately.
Hello guys, hi, my name is Peter Raef and I'm a managing director of Humorous advertising. I've been in a business for about 6 years, started in Minde's company, and then with some of those guys actually I've become really good at the business. Before that I was jack of all trades really. I used to do from bar jobs, being a musician, estate agent, whatnot, and then I really wanted to look for something cool. So now I'm really happy that I'm able to hang out with these guys, and then now we're just having a bit of fun.
Fantastic. And I suppose I'll finish this off. My name is Vishal. I've been running V5 for about 2.5 years. I've been in the business now for just over 8 years. In a pandemic for 1 year of it. And I suppose the idea of this today is us guys, we meet a lot and we talk, and Dave, can you all the panelists on the screen? We meet a lot, and we thought, it's so good if we could just stream this and video this, because we have a lot of fun. We're meant to meet for a 5-minute chat to plan something. An hour later, the thing's not planned, and we just haven't got banter. So for why not just put it on the internet and let people see it as well. Today, I suppose we want to start off with just the introductions and a few of our experiences within the business, things that some of you guys might not have heard before, things that you might know, but just some funny stories of the past. So I'm just going to chuck it out there. Who wants to kick us off?
That was really shy, isn't it?
I'll keep going, Vish. Go on.
To get shy.
Go on, Vish. Hit me up.
I don't know the level that we can start on. It's just I
suppose you got to be.
I don't know how do we ease people in, or Minde, when I was new in the business, he said that some stories are only for people that have made it in a business. Don't it's whatever stays, it stays in a business, some of the stories, but there's a lot.
On that topic though, that was one of my leader used to do that, my sales used to do that, and it was one of my biggest motivating factors, that he would be chatting to another person in the building into that conversation, And he was stopped. And he goes, "You're not allowed to be part of this conversation." And I was like, "Why?" He goes, "Your team's not big enough, or you haven't done this yet, or you haven't done that yet, or you haven't reached this level of the business yet." I'm like, "Come on, man! Like, you do some crazy shit in this company." It's like, "Nah, man, you just can't until you do that." And I remember achieving certain advancements and going straight back to him afterwards and going, "All right, I want to know that story, that story, that story, that story." Of course, by then he'd forgotten them all about what I was speaking about.
Yeah, that's like my coach when they went on a road trip. He told me I have to be like at least a business partner before I can hear what happened in there. So it's quite funny actually how those things motivate you, isn't it? Sometimes. But now, as I get older, I look back and think this is just a bit, not gimmicks kind of thing. It's a bit like as if too much a little bit, isn't it? So to some degree that like you can't hear, but I think it like everything. It depends how you take it, isn't it? If it's a banter and it's a good laugh, I suppose it's good, But on the other hand, it might look a bit kind of nearly harsh in it, nearly sounds a bit like, to a certain degree, sounds like a bit like bullying nearly. So to a certain degree, a bit like bullying nearly, like, you're not good enough to come and hang out nearly. But I suppose that's, I don't know how that would go out these days. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I think I'm talking when I started the business 15 years ago, it was a bit different time. So maybe we wouldn't take anything that much personal, isn't it? So somebody told me, "Hey, man, if you want to kind of be there, you have to do something." All right, then no problems. Let me go on. Like I would get, if people tell me I can't do something, I would get pissed off in it. I was like, okay, yeah, F off kind of thing, Let me go and prove it.
Fight for it after.
Now, sometimes it could be like, hey man, you can't listen to this conversation. People will be like, oh, it's not fair, or something along the lines. You know what I mean? So I think you gotta maybe.
I think one of the directions that we wanted to go with this first I don't know podcast whatever it was just a lot of people in our business, they don't get a chance to see us when we were new, but a lot of us saw each other when we were new, and we wanted to just kind of, I suppose, share some stories of our very, very early days on the field, some silly, stupid things that we did that people just wouldn't imagine us doing. Because when you enter the business and you see people at senior level already, you kind of think they were always like that when they started, and they were the finished article. But I think we all know that we all went on a journey. I mean, I was there when Peter started on his first day. I was there when Reece started his first day. Minde was obviously up there when we all started on our first day. So I think Eleonora as well, Spinay, has asked us, what is the craziest story from your field days? Now, I don't know how many of us could actually answer that exactly. It would have to be heavily censored.
Let's talk about the fifth craziest.
Yeah. Eleonora, the sixth or seventh craziest, but it's the first PG story that we could tell. So Myrish, I'm gonna hit your way, because I imagine that there's some craziness in your life. I don't know why I imagine that, but I assume so.
My craziness has got to be censored massively. I think crazy stories from the field days. I think there was stories where
early days, specifically in the early days, Myrish, when you were new.
When you were brand new, I think the major difference was when I was brand new, the business was very different to what the business is today. So obviously back then it wasn't all about iPads. It wasn't all about doing sales electronically. It was all pen and paper sales. So the little things made a big difference. So obviously making sure that you've got a certain number of black pens. I think black pens were like gold dust back in the days. Yeah. I remember.
Why, Marish? Why black pens?
Because obviously when we used to do our paper sales, we weren't allowed to sign up customers with blue pens or red pens or anything. I think it was just like a rule they said where you had to
scanned by the computer, didn't it?
Yeah, yes.
The scanner, wasn't it?
Sometimes if it was a different color pen, it wouldn't come out as clearly. Handwriting used to be a big thing. It's like we used to actually remember running leaders meetings or being in leaders meetings where we used to give handwriting lessons to the BAs.
Yes.
You said their handwriting was bad, and if your handwriting's bad, that's it. You can't read what's on the form, and the form goes void. So all them little things were quite funny. So you'd get funny stories where at the end of the day, people would come back to the office, and because they've had their pens in their pocket and they've been running around all day. There's about 3-4 people a day that their pens have burst in their pocket. Back then, everyone used to wear suits, so you used to see pen marks on everyone's suit seeping out their suit trousers. Especially when they go use the because we used to come back to the office, especially when they go use the toilet at the end of the day, you see like blue stains on the toilet seat where people have sat down, having had their pen in their pocket. But like little funny things like that was so normal back then. Now it's like even talking about it sounds a bit crazy, but actual stories about that happened on the field. I don't know if anyone else.
I've got one starts off maybe while you guys want to think then. So I remember when I was very, very new, and obviously you were taught relating is key, right? So relate with customers, build the relationship and things like that. And the thing is, before I started this business, I was quite introverted, I was quite shy. I didn't really want to speak to people for a casual sense, that's the last thing I want to do. I just want to say the pitch, which I remembered from day one. I remember the pitch. I just want to say it, and you either say yes or no, and I move on to the next person. So I was taught relating every single day, and I made a mental decision to go in the field and not relate because I couldn't be bothered. It's something I didn't want to do. Eventually, obviously, that reflected in my sales. And then somebody was watching me and they said, you need to relate. And I think it was like 2-3 weeks in. And I was like, all right, fine. I'm going to make a real conscious attempt to relate. And I remember at this one person's house, I pressed the doorbell, and the top half of the door was glass. And I pressed the doorbell and I see the light flicker on and off, literally like that. It starts flickering on and off. And I'm like, perfect, right? For someone who's so unconfident with speaking to people and trying to find a topic to relate about, I've got something really easy here, which is the light was flashing on and off. So the lady answered the door and I was like, hi, how are you? Are you having a party inside? Because that was my best relating 7 years ago, right? Like a disco lights coming on and off. And she literally replied like this, huh? And I'm like, my confidence already got hit because I made a joke and I got to repeat the joke. We know second time round the joke isn't the best. So I'm like, hiya, are you having a party inside? And then she then said again, huh? Again. And now it's dead. Now my joke's completely dead. I made an effort to relate. I got completely shot back, and I'm really nervous at this moment. But I thought she must have heard some elements of my line. I can't just move on and say what I'm doing now. I need to explain my crap joke and move on. So I'm like, oh, it's nothing serious. I was just making a joke. I saw your lights go on and off. I thought you were having a party inside, but it's fine. I'll move on. And then she actually then turned around and replied like this, almost exactly like this. I'm Neff. That's my doorbell.
Oh,
and
wow.
I freaked out. I absolutely freaked out. And I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. Da, da, da. And then naturally, it took me 2 weeks to build the confidence to relate. I didn't relate again for another 2 weeks, and got the results as a off the back of that.
Can I say something on that? That Vishal
I
was
wanted
coached.
to go for it.
Also, Vishal was coached by the guy who was one of the best guys at relating. I remember when I was teaching Raj how to relate, the same thing. The guy who was Vishal's coach. We was on some sort of road trip. I can't remember. I think it was Oxford or something. And I was walking around, and there's this flight set of stairs kind of thing, and I saw him kind of thing. Someone's opening the door, and he's like, "Hey, how are you doing? You okay?" And he's like, "Yeah." So it's a beautiful day, isn't it? And the lady, I can't see them. I just saw on the sides, like, "Yeah, it's beautiful." I was wondering, is this a cat poo or dog poo on your floor?
Oh God!
And I was like, "It seems like a cat." Oh, she's like, cat poo. I was like, oh, how many cats you got? And goes in this conversation. Whatever happens, actually, I'm not going to get in conversation because the lady just came out of jail for some crazy stuff. It's actually quite interesting story behind. I was like, whoa. Anyway, so when the conversation, I was like, man, why did I say? I didn't know. You told me just to whatever. I talk about what I see, and I saw some poo on the carpet, and I was wondering, obviously she has pets. I just wasn't sure if that was a dog or cat, and I didn't know how to start. I was like, and then you just asked what's food? It's on the carpet kind of thing. So I do remember that was quite funny. I found it funny. So
yeah, that was really funny. Talking about Vishal's, relating. I remember being with Vishal in the field. Do you remember, Vishal, when you came from our group, yeah? And somebody had to retain you back in charities. So there you go, the other more systematic person. Because I think we do have this in common. So Raj and Mindy thought at the time, okay, let's pair Vishal up with Alice. And Vishal was actually amazing at relating. I remember when we were in this house. By the way, guys, we were allowed to go into people's houses back then. And this guy had his bank card, because we were taking bank details, obviously, for customers, what we do now as well, obviously, to sign them up for charities. And he said that his bank card is in the safe. So me and Vishal looked at each other like, okay, the safe, like, who does have a safe in the house? But actually, he did have a safe, and this guy had 2 kids because his missus was at work. So I was trying to sign him up for this charity called VSO, Voluntary Services Overseas. And he said, okay, give me a second, I'm going to go into the bedroom. So Vishal actually started playing with the kids, and they had a little sort of car toy, and he started driving them around the living room so he can look into the bedroom, and he was spying on them, and he was telling me, Alice, he is looking into a safe, and then he was taking the kids around
around the whole house.
And then about 15 minutes later or something like that, something that felt like forever, this guy comes out to the car, and I'm about to like, phew, let me fill in the details. And when I'm looking, it was Mrs. So I realized it was his Mrs. car. I'm like, sorry, this is not your car. Can you bring your car? So he's going back again into the safe, into the other room to look. And Vishal starts again. So, and the same day, I think we had one of the best days, or at least, in my opinion, alongside Vishal, when he played PlayStation while I was signing somebody up in a house. So, it was some really good fun memories in there. And clearly he was relating and helping me get some big amount of donations in there.
Well, when you send someone to get their bank details, it's a contentious part of the form. So I thought, let me be extra nice and play with the kid. I thought it would be 20 seconds for him to go grab his wallet. It turned out to be somewhere like 40 minutes. And my legs were tired, and you had to go back and get different cards. And then, so that was a bit of craziness for that one.
That was good fun. That was good fun.
I remember.
Yeah.
Yes, go on.
I remember when Minde was retraining me when I was new. Maybe I was in my first, potentially maybe 6 months in the business. And to be fair, in that period of time, right at the beginning, I spent more time with his wife, with Indre, which most of you, I think you only know maybe from Instagram or maybe from our parties. Maybe some of you haven't had a chance to meet her properly. But she retained me, and obviously, me and her spent loads of time in the field. But actually, I did spend quite a bit of time with Minde as well. And one of the times when he came, okay, let me come and help you out. So I was watching him for a bit. He watched me, and I have to say that my English wasn't that great also. When I moved to the UK, and I really struggled to understand Scottish people and Irish people. I'm not sure if anybody else can relate. Sorry, Riz. I do understand you very well, but I think mainly because you are brought up here, right? So but a proper Irish and a proper Scottish, I still struggle at times. So you can remember, 10, 11 years ago. And I was very eager to pitch loads because I knew I needed loads of practice. So Minde was behind me, maybe like a meter away, just listening to like, okay, let me see how you're doing. So this lady came out and she said something, and I swear to God, I don't remember. And even now, I wouldn't know what she said. I don't know what she said. But Minde understood what she said, but I didn't. And as I didn't understand at all anything what she said, I just thought in my head, okay, I stopped for like 30 seconds, and I thought, okay, I don't know what she's saying, but what if she's saying something positive? I might as well pitch her, isn't it? Because what's the worst that can happen? She can say no. So I pitch her, and then in the end, she get a bit more aggressive and a little bit more kind of like, oh, don't you understand? I'm not interested, or something like that. And then I walked away, and Minde was pissing himself laughing. Sorry to say that. And he was like, are you crazy? Don't you understand what she said? And I was like, no, I didn't know what she said. I didn't understand anything. And he said, she said, I'm not interested. I'm just not interested. Get away, or something like that. I was like, well, I didn't understand. So I thought, what if she said something positive? Might as well pitch her. So yeah, there are loads of fun stuff talking about people who can't speak proper English, and it's crazy to see, where we've come in this amount of time. But talking about that with Reese, do you remember the story in the field when you were trying to say, and this is a person obviously born and bred in UK, trying to talk to another person born and bred in the UK to say, this is my first day, and this elderly lady who said, happy birthday.
I tried so many times and she just wouldn't listen. I was like, I'm a little bit nervous. It's my first day. She's like, oh, bless you. Happy birthday. I was like, no. Sorry. It's my first day. She was like, happy birthday. So I just went, thank you very much. And we kind of just went from there. And that was my birthday, apparently. But I think going into it, when Eleonora said crazy story, I didn't know how crazy I could go. And then I heard Vish's one, and that was obviously quite bad. So I've got something quite similar. And
I've got worse, but yeah, you go.
I mean, yeah, I think
this podcast is gonna go pretty bad. Okay, we're gonna have to
we're going to go up in levels. I think
a live show.
we'll go up in levels. Each week will just get worse and worse. But I do remember this one honestly like it was yesterday. It was, I mean, from the guys that know me, like I worked in clubs my whole life. Like I've seen some weird shit. I've been, yeah. Let's not get into that. But this day on the field was with Alice. Actually, Alice, if you remember, I still remember the date. It was the 4th of October. The only reason I remember that because that is my dad's birthday, and we were in Greenwich. If Alice remembers,
Oh,
I had a tendency because I remember Marish bringing up the paper forms, and I had a tendency to do double forms. If you remember, Alice, I used to be quite good at signing people up for the choice of donating twice rather than once. And I remember Alice going, "Can I come and watch you?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And then I remember me and you did them together, like we both filling out forms together, really fun. I had one more form left, and I still remember this. Honestly, I get red thinking about it because it was horrible. Same thing that Vish was saying, relating. And I was like, right, Reese, one form left. You've got one form left. This is your PB day, personal best day. Let's go out there. Let's go back to the office, smile on your face. People are going to be cheering for you. Let's do it. I had one more form left. I remember this lady's house, who I still remember her name, but I'm not going to mention the name, but went to a house, did the whole thing, and then the whole relating side came in what Vish was saying, because she was like, no, I don't know about bank details. The guys will remember, I've already filled the form out. There's no deleting on an iPad. Once you fill the form's filled, you can't go back. Anyway, we were relating, and she finally went, oh, fine, all right, no worries. You're a really nice guy. I do love what you're doing anyway. I was just trying to make sure you were proper. And I was like, yeah, no, of course. I mean, you can check my badge if you want to. You can call them up and blah, blah, blah. She went and got her cards. And I was like, for some reason, Reese, you still need to relate. That was a close one. Come on, let's go. She comes back anyway. She's putting her bank details in. And then there's that awkward silence. Everyone remembers that awkward silence when they're putting their own bank details. So I'm kind of looking around the house and I went, so when are you due?
No.
Obviously thinking she was pregnant. The moral of the story was she wasn't pregnant.
No.
And it was the first time ever and the last time I had a form ripped up. And she told me to leave, and I left with my tail in between my legs and met Alice.
I've done that.
That's the worst, when a customer wants to say no to you and they don't say no, just to be secure that this sale is not going through, ripping up the form in front of your face.
Pure eye contact as well. Was like
into multiple pieces and just chucking it at you. I was like,
I just remember backing up, going, "I'm so sorry. I'm really sorry." And then
there's no comeback from that. I've done
there's nothing.
Yeah, but from that moment, I decided, even if they're so obviously pregnant, like supermodel body with a big butt, I'm not asking.
Yeah,
I'm not thinking until they make it clear that themselves that they're pregnant.
Yeah, exactly.
Ever fucking again. That's it. I've got one story, just a bit more of a physical, I suppose, mishap, which is I was in a division that was, an insulation division, and we had to do surveys on people's houses, and that involved either drilling their walls to look inside with a camera in the cavity, or going into their loft to measure insulation. So we used to carry these ladders around, these collapsible ladders that fold all the way up. Now, unfortunately, the grip on these ladders wasn't the best. But when you would go into lofts, it wasn't really a problem if the person had carpet. The problem came when someone had wood flooring, and then it got a little bit slippery. But you felt like you're an expert. You've done so many that even with these shaky ladders, you could still get someone's loft. And just cut a long story very short, I was inside this gentleman's loft, and I was looking, and on the top of the ladder, everything's fine. I'm coming back down. He had a wooden floor. I'm coming back down, and that's when the ladder completely just gave way. It just literally gave way, right? And I instinctively grab onto the entrance of the loft, basically, the square in the ceiling. I'm grabbing onto that, but in the commotion, my elbow hits their light, their lampshade, which happens to be right there, which had a glass lampshade, which completely shattered into bits on the floor. Also in the commotion, what happened was the door of the loft, that is called the hatch, came shut. It literally just shut on my fingers, and I'm now hanging from this person's ceiling with my fingers trapped in the middle. I'm actually screaming for the first time ever in my life. I'm like, This guy came and he was really nice, like a proper African uncle type guy. He just grabbed my body and lifted me up, so then all my weight wasn't pulling on it, and I managed to just push the door open and get out the way. And that was honestly one of my most embarrassing situations in the field, where I broke this guy's light. The ladder fell and smashed the door or something. I'm screaming inside his house. My fingers are gone. They're gone. And I have to still find the composure to turn around and go, okay, well, shall we start doing the form now? I was gone for the rest of the day with that as well, which is
but you know what I find in the field, that people are so nice, actually, in general, so many amazing people, and all those things that happen. These are kind of normal things, like rubbish. Actually, I'll mention something, how I first time did PB in energy, actually, in Scotland, right? So because the guy was Scottish, I couldn't understand him, but I was on for customers, and genuinely, this is the true story. I'm just super pumped about, to do my fifth customer, and this guy opens the door, and he says, like, I hate cold callers, And I was probably about, I don't know, like 6 months in the country. I generally had no idea what cold calling means, isn't it? I was like, I'm really sorry, sir. I'm foreign, I really don't understand. What does it mean, cold calling? You know what I mean? And the guy's like, well, cold calling means that actually you're unannounced. Okay, you came there. I didn't ask you to come in here. I do everything online, And this is by me, not me being any smart or anything like that. I just generally having conversation, and with this naive, really nice heart kind of thing, I'm like, well, yeah, I do everything online too. And I generally connect because I do everything online, right? And I'm like, yeah, that's, I completely understand. So, I do everything online too, Because the reason why we're here, because actually energy prices gone up, I think it was British Gas or whatever, and we just been sent around to Scotland, actually, from Manchester at the time, to see if we can reduce the bills. Are you with this type of company? And he's like, I really don't know who I'm with. I was like, actually, I have this number I could call up for you and double check, which used to be like National Grid, I think, used to be Transco back in the day. So I was like, would you like me to check? And the guy's like, yeah, why not? And and I'm checking up and sign him up. And the guy's, oh, thank you so much. It's really much cheaper, whatever. We looked at those booklets. And only when I left, I remembered what he told me. Like, the literally first one, I say, hi, how are you doing, sir? You okay? His answer was, I hate cold calling. Why do you knock in here? And I genuinely just, I had no idea what it meant. And I was like 6 months doing sales. I had no idea what cold calling means. It's like, cold calling is what you do when you knock on my doors, unannounced. Okay, yeah, I do everything online. And I was like, oh, yeah, I completely understand you. And that's not, I didn't even know how to turn objections, it wasn't even me trying to turn anything. I wasn't even trying to relate. I was just generally thinking, oh, yeah, that makes sense. I do everything online too, And I ended up just kind of sort of, technically I was turning him without even realizing what I was doing, Only when I walked off, I'm like, this guy just ringed me out for knocking on his door, and I didn't realize. But so sometimes actually naive positivity works, when you just generally positive from inside, you can't even hear what the guy's telling you to literally get lost, kind of thing.
I mean, that's not even a foreign thing. I mean, in the first time I was told no canvassing or no soliciting, I when someone said no soliciting, I did turn around and say I'm not a lawyer or something like that. Like I'm born here as well, and I still didn't understand these particular terms. But I remember when Peter was new. When Peter was new, I was involved in his training actually in some of the early days, and Peter was one of those great guys. He just looked sharp in the office, seemed like he had a great mentality. Always gave up, and Minda, you've got countless stories of him doing crazy stuff, good stuff anyway when he was new. But for some reason, his sales and his results were just not there. And I remember kind of being on the field with him on one particular day, and I was listening and watching him kind of pitch, and yeah, it was actually really shocking. I don't remember this day, Pete. I was in Hackney. That was another day as well. Something else happened that day. I think I got 14 voids, which was my PB. But I was watching Peter pitch, and there's a part of the pitch obviously that we label as the short story, and the idea is that it's only kind of 3 or 4 lines long. And Peter's short story was actually a very, 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 very long story. And I remember, Peter, just standing with you in the cold on this Hackney pavement, practicing this short story for, I think it must have been 45 minutes or an hour.
Yeah, I think I got to you then.
I think I got
It
to
was
you one of those days. Yeah. I remember. I don't know if I'm delaying right now because of the.
1 second, Peter. 1 second, Peter.
Yeah.
Have you seen that episode of Friends when Phoebe's trying to teach Joey French? Some of you guys might know it, and
Yeah.
like, just say this, just say, and I was like this to Peter, just say we're in the area because, like I just said it, the words, we're in the area because, and Peter would go, for some reason, he would take those 6 words straight away and repeat them after me in 15 words. I'm like, just say we're in the area because. So what we're doing here is just doing some work for these guys, and we're in the area for the reason of. And I'm like, not just we're in the area because, and we had to go almost word by word through this 3 or 4 lines, and it took like 45 minutes. But Peter, man, you had some crazy early start to the business. I think you beat my record, which was interesting. You must have some crazy shit that happened then. Well.
I think almost like every single. I don't know if you can hear me, but I think almost every day was like a war zone for me because I was just like so nervous about everything that's happening. I just wanted to look good. I wanted to make sure where I can look good and do well, like do it, and then I just see how it goes the rest of the day. That's why I kind of try to make sure I look smart and trying to think of ahead, anything that can help people, which a lot of the times overcomplicate it. But I remember, my first ever independent sales, and that was with Vishal, after like, I think a week and a half or 2 of him training me and then helping me do sales. And I remember that was like the most nerve-wracking sale I've ever done because he's the first one. It's like, it's a lot of pressure. And then I was just getting around the territory, and then a very nice lady invited me in to tell her what it is about. It was charity at the time, obviously. And then she was like, yeah, just come in, just really, really cold outside. Just come in, I know the charity, I know you guys are kind of like, clearly she really empathized with the charity and sympathized with the cause. And then and I kept probably talking to her about 45 minutes before I actually asked her to help, probably more. End up playing on her piano because I've shared with her that I'm a pianist, right? So she said, oh, really? I was like, yeah, I can play for you if you want. And she's like, yeah, go and play. So the conversation was like very, very long, which should be like probably like 10 minutes, probably end up being 45 minutes an hour. And then I was so excited and I was so nervous at the same time not to mess it up that I pretty much messed everything that could be messed up. I remember Vishal was with me just before that, helping me trying to sign someone up. Again, but the person was busy, or we needed to call back, and I'm sure you remember that day because, like, for me, like I'm sure, like, repeated 100 times to remind you. But when I came out of the house, because it was pen and paper and all that stuff, like Myra was saying, when I come in and literally with the sale, I was running towards Vishal to show him, like, Vish, I did my first independent sale. And he goes like, okay, calm down, let me see it, because of course he knows what first independent sale would be. So he looked at it and he goes, Peter, come on. And when he said that, I was like, oh no, like it's like almost like my heart broke. I was like, what did I do? She said, yes. He's like, yeah, she said there's no signature on it. I'm like, oh, snap, let me go back to her. So I went back to her. I apologized. I said, I'm really sorry. I'm sorry to let you waste your time. In a very long way, of course, again. It's just, I'm brand new, and then I'm getting nervous, and I could have just said, like, I forgot signature. Anyway, I end up getting to the point, and she signed the app. She's like, don't worry about it. I went back to him. And then he's like, I got it, there you go. And he looks at it again. He's like, Peter. I'm like, what? I'm like, there's no account number or SOL code on it. I'm like, oh no. No, there's no account, one of them. I was like, oh no. Went back to her. I'm really, really sorry. This and that. It's just, I'm quite new. I'm very nervous. And like, what is it? What do you want? I was like, you need the account number. Like, okay, got the account number. Like, yes, I got it. Run back to Vish. Vish, I got it. He looks at it like, okay, everything's fine. Well done, Peter. High five me, give me a hug, or probably I give him a hug. I don't know. I was so grateful. And then I carry on with the work. And I realized on the next door, I knocked on the door, and I forgot all my stuff in that lady's house. I forgot my pitch card. I forgot my forms. I've got everything. I forgot my bag in her house, right? So now I'm running back to her house again. I'm really, really sorry. She just came out with a bag. Like, just get out of here. But it was a very nice way. It was so funny. And I was so nervous about it. And I was like, good. And that day, actually, I did my personal best, like 2 sales and my personal best first ever sale. So it was like huge day. I was so nervous, so many hiccups. But yeah, it was crazy.
Peter, I've got to admit to you that your first independent sale was not an independent sale.
No. That was the second one was not independent. The first one though, he wasn't there for it. The second was callback.
Yeah, she was. But I was at the beginning, and I turned quite an objection.
Yeah. You kind of did it. The bell wasn't independent then, but the first one was independent. Like, really wasn't independent because you helped me twice outside the house anyway. But like, it was crazy. But
can you imagine on any random day on the field? You know, I'm just there. I'm just looking after you guys. Just crazy to think that we're both owners now. That's just, you know, sometimes again, I think people forget that. You know, right now you're just on the field with someone, you might be going through a struggling time, and it might be a bit rainy, it might be a bit of hard territory, but you know, it could be a time in like 12 months, so you're both sitting on the beach somewhere. Peter, there's a better story of you, Peter. There's one where Peter this is just actually a few weeks after the story that he just told, but I put him with someone called Max. We were in Highgate, right? And Highgate's a very nice posh area, and I'm pitching and I'm running the sector. And I'm calling Max, and I'm like, Max, you really need to look after Peter. He's a great guy. You're Eastern European. He's Eastern European. Make sure you help him and stuff like that. And Max like, no problem. I got this, right? And it comes to about 6:30, and it's dark already. It's one of those kind of times of the year. And Max just sends me a picture on WhatsApp. And the picture on WhatsApp is Peter's face. And Peter's face is full of blood, like literally full of blood, all here coming out of his nose. And I'm like, what's happened? What has gone on? And I'm like, Max, what happened? And it's just the stupidest but typical Peter story, where Peter's been trying to get into a block, a really brand new block that has a glass door all day, and he hasn't been able to get into this block all day. And he happens to be walking past this block, and he sees someone go into the block, and the door is slowly closing. And Peter's like, this is my chance. I can quickly get into this block and I can catch that door before it closes. So Peter starts running full speed towards the entrance of this block. What he somehow forgot was before this door that was closing, there was another glass wall with another door before it. So he ran full speed into a glass wall face first, and just the biggest nosebleed coming out of his mouth. And that was basically the end of his day. I sent that to Minde, shit scared, because Minde told me, look after Peter, and I told Max, you look after Peter. And then I have to send this picture back to him and go, by the way, we're bringing your guy back with the nosebleed from Highgate, not even Greenwich,
after Peter
from Highgate. Guys, I think we had a question from Nikesha, which is in which way did becoming an owner? Ways in which becoming an owner has actually developed you. Now, just so you guys are aware, so everyone else is aware, we've got about a 10-minute countdown, because I know a lot of guys are signed up for the Tony Robbins course, and we want to kind of get you in on time for that. So yeah, in which ways, guys, has becoming an owner actually developed you? Marish, Reese, Minde, do you want to start us off?
I just say with time, we have a bit more time. We can go 10 minutes after or something, because in the beginning they do all the adverts and that type of stuff in there anyway.
Okay, cool.
I think one big one is the further you grow in the business, the more you realize that you've got multiple gears that you can operate in. And I think I remember there was one day where Minde, actually, you came and watched me in the field. I think it was in charities where you wanted to go see what one of the guys were doing, and you were like, do you know what, Myrish? You're high rolling at the moment. You're doing some big numbers. I want to come see you on the field. I want to come watch what you're doing and stuff. And then you were shadowing me for the day. And when you got someone watching you, obviously when you're there and you're in your element and you're in your zone and you're just going out and doing your thing, you feel like you can do whatever. But when you got someone watching you, sometimes your brain it switches and you start thinking, okay, cool. Maybe let me just do everything a little bit more proper than I normally do it. Let me just make sure that I'm crossing my T's and doing everything maybe a little bit more cautiously than I would do it normally. And Minde's watching me, and I'm going through the day, and I'm speaking to all these people, and when someone says no, maybe I'm just being like a little bit more cautious where I'm not trying to turn them or not trying to push them too far. And then just to make sure that I'm not looking like I'm coming across too aggressive in the day. And then I remember midday, I think you got to about 7:30 and I hadn't done a sale yet. And then you turned around and you said, you just stopped me and you said, I thought you were the famous Myrish, yeah? Like, I come to see sales. Are you going to show me some sales? Yeah. And I was like, do you know what? Yeah. Fuck this guy, man. I'm going to show you some. You want to see sales? I'll show you some sales, man. And then when you just turn it from like gear 1 to gear 5, and you got half an hour left in the day. And I remember I just went and banged out 3 sales in the last half an hour or something, where maybe instead of like going a little bit aggressive, I probably went a little bit too aggressive.
That was funny, man. I remember at least 2 of them. One guy was some like 35-year-old guy putting rollerblades on. Remember, like that was outside.
It was just like in the block or something, isn't it? And we were just there on the stairs.
And there was this Nigerian guy. That was funny when you were standing.
They're convincing him how his life is going to be better by the fact that he's helped this charity and helped this cause or whatever it was. And he was there like, okay, man, if you say so, man.
But it was so funny. When I actually stopped you then, I remember I was like, oh, let me go and watch Myrish again because he was kicking ass. And I can't remember why, because maybe I was going back as well in the field because I can't remember. Generally, if I go and watch somebody, it means I'm going to go. So, of course, I've been in business many years and I got no ego from that perspective. If I was to go in the field, let's say right now, and I have to go in the field because I have a new team I'm building or whatever, or maybe we open some offices and my team is small, I would always go on retail. I go and watch somebody who's kicking ass. One of the fastest ways, why do we go on this Tony Robbins stuff right now? Again, fastest way to get something done is to model. You know what I mean? Now, of course, I know how to sell or no. Of course, I can do it myself. But if I haven't done something for like, and in some case, I'm talking about like 3, 4, 5 years, I haven't even actually done a sale, right? You know what I mean? So much faster is to go and watch somebody who's kicking ass kind of thing because you get the vibe and you get the feeling, you get the confidence. You can. It's much easier just to watch somebody even for half an hour, copy that, copy the feeling, copy the pitch, and go and replicate, than actually just go and start again, Yeah. And I remember when you was talking to some of those people, I was like, I definitely would have turned that one. I definitely would have signed up this one up. And Myrish just said, oh, thank you very much. Have a great day. I'm like, what is he doing, man? Like, where's the, I know Myrish is kicking ass. I'm like, but this is way worse than I would have. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, no way, he left this guy alone and he left this guy alone. I'm like, what is happening? And I said, my brothers are Myrish, this is what you do? Like, because this is just way too nice. These people like, you think about it, Myrish, no problems, you have a great day. And he just walks up. I'm like, what happened there, But that was actually a good day. It was a good laugh, actually.
Yeah. I remember, I think it was quite interesting because back then as well, we used to, our office was in Shoreditch. And obviously coming back to the office every evening, we had to come back to like process our forms and get it like all put in, ready to get scanned in the morning. And you couldn't just go straight home from the field. So you had to come back to the office. And imagine we're finishing territory at 8 o'clock. By the time we get to the office, maybe 9:30. By the time we process all our forms and stuff, it's 10:30. And then you're walking out of the building in Shoreditch at 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. Yeah. Which is the most dangerous place to be at 11 o'clock at night. Imagine you walking out, you're just like, oh, it's been such a long day. Walk out of the building and there's 5 bars, like clubs, everything's kicking off. You're like, do you know what? I'm going to go for a drink. Then a drink turns into 2 drinks. Then 2 drinks turns into, I remember me and Minde was sat there once. And we had our guys there and we were chilling with the guys, and then the guys all one by one were going home, and me and Minda just there by ourselves. And we're like, shit, man, what's wrong with everyone? Why is everyone going home? Then 1 drink turned into 2, turned into 5, turned into... Next thing you know, it was 3:30 in the morning. Me and Minda are bladdered. And we're just there like, oh, my God. Minda's like, I live like 10 minutes away. So we're just like wobbling over to Minda's, really, really drunk. And then we get to Minda's. Minda had this bottle of... what was it? Lithuanian?
It's called mead. It's like alcohol from honey, basically.
Yeah. And this is like on a Tuesday or Wednesday or something. Yeah. There's this whole bottle of some, like, I don't know, it was like some 70% stuff. And suddenly at 3:30 in the morning, we think it's a great idea to go through this bottle. And I remember we had these shot glasses. And inside the shot glasses was like a little statue
of Irish.
Oh.
I still have it. It's like a little Irish replicant inside.
Yeah. And it's like a little Irish statue inside the shot glass, and we're pouring it in there and drinking. I remember I just have this vivid memory of like 5:30 or 6 o'clock in the morning, and Minday's like pouring his last shot, and he's staring at this shot glass, and he's having an argument with the guy inside the shot glass, yeah, and he's just having a full-blown argument, like, and just starts shouting at this shot, and then next it, and then I just remember waking up at like 9 o'clock, like 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning, in my boxers, passed out on Minday's sofa, and then I was like, shit, we need to be in the office in 45 minutes, yeah, and then immediately got yourself together, went straight to the office, and ran the office like nothing had happened, and that was just a normal Wednesday, or like a normal day.
And then we did watch the James Bond movie, isn't it?
Yeah.
And everyone did that, and I got
get the guys out on the field, right? Run the leaders meeting, morning meeting. Right, guys, off you go. See you later. I was like, Minday, I need to do something, and we're like, should we go watch James Bond? We just walked over to the cinemas, and then just ended up watching James Bond in the afternoon. Yeah, I remember that.
And I got like 10 missed calls from Paul Pickering from recruitment company because he drove to London to meet me, which I completely forgot that day. And he's like, I can't talk. Like, he's like, I came to see you, man. Like, I'm watching James Bond. Man, oh, that was bad. Yeah, that was quite embarrassing, to be fair. But that was, I don't know, how old we were. Like, we were like probably 20. I was probably 26, something like that.
Yeah.
6 and 7.
But I think like with a lot of these questions as well, I think the big thing is that I think sometimes people think that owners I don't know, that we never went through all these crazy challenges, or we never went through all this stuff, and like we do everything perfect all the time. But man, like when you hear the stories, when we sit down and go through some of the stories, like sometimes the stuff that I can remember going through, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. Like our journeys, and we just like anyone else. Do you know what I mean? Like it's not like we don't have these moments of diverting off path or doing things slightly off track.
But that's the question, Monica, right? That's the question. She's like, in which ways did becoming an owner develop you? And I think, out of all of us, I would say probably Reese went through quite a major development. Also, not a major one, but just in a short space of time as well. But Reese, would you agree that it's not the development that comes after ownership; it's the development that comes first before becoming
100%.
What was your journey then in terms of development?
Do you know? I mean, I think I had so much fun on the field, and I think when loads of stories like kind of what Marius was saying, but just to kind of pinpoint it down, I wasn't the easiest person to train. I know I wasn't the easiest person to train. Minday is a godsend for actually putting up with me for so long. And I think how it's developed me so much at the moment is kind of, two ways about it. Like number one, I'm going to kind of talk about my journey of me kind of going up to ownership, but just to I'll start from where I am now and just kind of looking back. It's always that kind of thing. And this is how I explain it to guys in my company, is that we all remember when you have your first girlfriend or you have your first boyfriend or whatever, back in the day, and you kind of break up and you think your life is over and you think, oh my God, like, what am I going to do? Like, I'm never going to find someone again. Like, those are the love of my life. And your parents are always the one to say to you, like, don't worry, like this is how life happens. But you want to just not focus on no, you just don't understand me, mum. You don't understand me, dad, whatever. Same kind of thing when, Minday used to tell me all these kind of things, and me and Minday laugh about it now, but I genuinely thought Minday hated me. I genuinely thought he hated me. He was just oblivious to the fact as to why I thought that. But what I kind of realized is, how much he was developing me before I became an owner. Because I thought the exact same of what Vicious saw there. I thought it was, you're in the field, build a team, blah, blah, blah. Then when you're an owner, it all becomes shining lights and nice cars and nice watches and stuff like that, nice houses. But I think I kind of made that mental choice. There was 2 times I think that developed me a lot. Number one was that pub night me and Minday went to. We did that really weird escape room, remember? that was in the pub, and the guy got up on the chair and we had to go find clues around the pub. It was really weird. And then I remember just going, right, let me just have a conversation with Minde. And had a conversation with Minde, which was meant to be half an hour. I'm a big talker. Minde's a big talker. I'm pretty sure it was a solid 2-3 hours we were speaking. And the subject was, why do you not like Reese? We then found out after that it was not that whatsoever. The night ended up with us in Subway, and then I think back at my house after a club. And then ever since then, I think I started developing myself. Because I remember even for Myrish, for instance, as well, and I remember I was going to talk about this when I got advanced to my ownership. Same kind of thing, just kind of thinking, and you're all going to get there. 100%. Like, if you do truly believe it's going to happen for you, then it will happen for you. But I had it subconsciously in the back of my head going, for some reason, I don't think it's going to happen. I'm pretty sure all 6 of us have been there, just thinking something's not going to go right on the way. I don't know what it was. And I remember Myrish saw it in my eyes, and I think this is where me and Myrish kind of connected a lot. He was like, is everything all right? And we kind of had a chat. And then I remember I kind of just let it out to Myrish, and I was like, I don't know about this. And, I lost some guys on my team, and this is happening and that's happening. And Myrish took me for a curry in Elephant and Castle.
Yeah, I remember this.
The train station, the most.
You've never taken me for a curry. What's that about, Myrish?
But you have curry every day, man.
Oh.
He was treating an English lad to a curry. But yeah, I remember it was the weirdest place ever. It was above. I don't even know what it is now. It's all being developed, isn't it? But it was above.
If Myrish is taking you there, it's going to be a weird underground place.
It was proper. Yeah, it was like one of those underground weird clubs that you shouldn't go to, but sold curry. It was very, very strange. But to be fair, still to this day, it is one of the best curries I've ever had. It was really, really good. And Myrish just kind of let me know about all the stories that he kind of went through. And then, I spoke to Vish, I spoke to Minde, spoke to Peter, spoke to Alice, spoke to loads of owners about it, and realized it wasn't just me. Actually loads of people have been through the same things. And it's just kind of what happens. But I think what developed me a lot now is now looking back at my guys and being able to say things like, don't worry about that, or this will happen. Or when I push people maybe and they get a bit annoyed, now it's that time that I start thinking and go, that's why Minde did that. Or that's why Minde did this. But I think it developed me in a way to feel like, the guys you truly believe in, even though sometimes they may snap at you, or they may be like, no, I don't think this is it. I kind of look at them and go, you'll get there. You'll get there. It's good. But yeah.
Very quickly, guys, let's see a drinks check. I want to see everyone's drinks. I'm about halfway through this bottle of wine. Reese's.
Mountain's finishing, man.
Reese's at the moment. You need to get more than one bottle.
I need to refill before Tony Robbins,
Got next one, mate.
Man, a ghost method cardio, the one where you have to run on a spot, man. I think you'll sober up.
That messed me up.
When you talk about your relationship with Minde, for me, it's an alien concept. My relationship with Minde was very, very different. But then I think of Peter's one with him, and even Myrish is one with him, and Alice is one with him. I think we've all got different relationships with him.
My one with him was.
Guys, talk about your relationship with me outside of this.
No.
Different as well, aren't we? I think
It's out of script now. No script.
Different bunch of people.
I think I can hand on heart say I've never been reamed out directly by Minde.
I can hand on heart say I have.
Yeah, I know. I've seen it. I've watched it. I've heard it. We've heard it. Genuinely, I have. No, it was Tom Payne. It was Tom Payne. He was eating chips in his news meeting, but still, it was.
And then said, "Stop eating the chips," and he then put it underneath the desk. I still remember this, and he was like, "Stop eating" in my leaders meeting. He went, "Sorry." Put it underneath the desk, and then he just saw for a chip. And Minde wasn't even facing him, but just kind of went straight onto him. I was like, "Oh no, you've been spotted."
I think that's one thing that I would like everyone to know is that even if when we're running a meeting, whether it be face to face in a room or even on Zoom, we see everything. Like, trust me, we see everything. But we've had another question from Kareem Binns, which is, and I'm going to direct this towards Minde and Alice. But what is a personal goal that you've had from a BA that you actually managed to achieve once you reached ownership? So, Minde, do you want to start us off there?
I think pretty much all my personal well, not all of them, but most of my personal goals that since I was a BA, I managed to achieve, I suppose, in ownership, right? Helping my family and having some properties and that type of stuff, But I think for me, but that's more like materialistic, I suppose, right? There would be like more stuff I want to have, like, my childhood things, like I want to have Harley Davidson, I want to have a fast car, which kind of my Ferrari turned out into Tesla, but still, it's pretty cool stuff. So, I want to have specific, I don't know, watches or whatever, but those are like quite natural. I think the most important thing for me in general is I don't know why, and I used to assume that everybody wants that, but for me, it's always about self-development. I always wanted to kind of, I just want to know stuff, right? If I'm doing well, I want to know why I'm doing well. If I can't do well, I want to know how do I do well. When I watch some other people, like, I don't know, I watch somebody living in a beautiful house. I drive past a beautiful house and think, what the hell does this guy do? What do these people do different, kind of thing, right? And I think my biggest thing was, when I was at 19, actually, I was a pedicab driver. I was cycling like with people in the back, like you see them in London, in Key West, in Florida, as a student. And I used to meet a lot of rich people in there, and they go to 5, even 6-star hotel that wasn't there, and they have their own boats and yachts, whatever. So you pick them up from the pubs, restaurants, take them to yacht, whatever. And I generally used to look at them like you physically can touch those people, and they obviously come in their boats and that type of stuff. And I thought, how come? Like, why? I was from Lithuania at the time. Lithuania wasn't part of the EU still, so I couldn't even legally travel. I mean, I could travel and work for summertime. And I used to think, how is that guy kind of, driving £100,000 car when my dad's working on like £2,000 a year or something, like, with the currency difference? And I just found that those people weren't that much different. I always wanted to find what's the mentality of people. How do you go from, from poor to wealthy? And it's not just about money. It just seemed that like they found it quite easy. And my family, because I'm from more like sort of whatever you call middle working class, whatever, everything seemed so hard, especially financially, kind of thing. In my family, everyone talked, you have to work really, really hard to make money. You have to get a good degree, good job, that type of stuff, And then I met some people who maybe didn't really kind of fit in my mom's description of people who should be successful, but they were, So I think what I'm the most grateful for when I came to this business, I was taught positive thinking. I was taught how to set goals. I was taught how to believe when things not going right. And there were so many other people telling me I can do when even I couldn't believe I could do. They told me, say, you're going to do 3 or 4 in sales in a day. When I thought, how can I say it? Okay, I'm obviously lying. What if I do 1 and I told you I'll do 3? I couldn't even understand the concept of setting a goal. When people used to ask me, what's the goal? What you going to do today? What are you definitely going to do today? And I was like, well, obviously, I don't know what I'm going to do today because it's really different every single day, isn't it? I couldn't even understand, what was going on, kind of thing, So I felt like lying if I said I'm going to do like 3 sales and I did 1. So how I'm going to feel in the end of the day? So all those concepts of kind of law of attractions, visualizing your own goals, okay, all those things kind of start happening in this business. Initially from my owner at the time, then of course there were some other people involved, okay, and I started reading books. That's when I met kind of Tony Robbins. Actually, I met Tony Robbins. I found out about Tony Robbins when somebody gave me his sales CDs like 16, 17 years ago. And they were really, really good. Then I actually got to get some of his books, and I watched some videos. And actually, I had one of the goals actually to go to see him live, which I did like many, many years in New York. And then I've seen him live multiple times after. So I think it was all about self-development. Even now, I still do the same thing. I always look at my diet. I'm doing this Wim Hof stuff. Some guys are told I do this cold showers. But I just like to know things. I like to know how my body can be more powerful. How can I have more energy? How can I make more money? And I think if I wasn't in this business, I would have never connected with those people because I am from working class, and working class people don't do those things. Working class people go to work, do their hours, generally come back home and watch TV, and that's how my family was. I'm not saying everybody, but that's how my family was, right? My family worked really, really hard when they came back home and they watched TV series, and that's all they did. You know what I mean? So I think if I was to say what's the biggest thing I developed, kind of thing, from the first question as an owner, I think I got connected with people who were developing themselves. And every time you get to the next level financially, you get to meet those type of people on that financial level. which allows you to develop yourself to the next level financially and mentally, kind of thing. You know? But yeah, sorry guys, but most of the goals I achieved so far, and I still have some more, because I think every time when you hit something, you want to get the next one, kind of thing. But I think for me it was environment. I'm so grateful that somehow, luckily, I went from this employment environment into self-employment business environment without even realizing it. So I think that was the biggest thing for me.
Kareem, as well, what's interesting about your question is it's you know, who knows how long sometimes it'll take you to get to that position where you could achieve that particular goal that you thought about, that is something that you want to do. The idea is, you know, when you get there, your priorities could change. You know, the things you want could change. You know, and it often does. It often does as well. And I think the main thing is not about what exact goals were achieved that you wrote down 3-4 years ago. You know, I spoke to my guys about this. The idea is just having a goal. Just at least have a goal. You know, once you get there, once you get in a position to even do that thing, the details will come to light in that moment anyway. Like, you know, if I keep it on materialistic levels, you know, Mindo quite deep spiritual with it. If I keep on materialistic levels, and you know, I've wanted a Ferrari for many years, right? Ultimately, I want a very, very nice supercar, nicer than, you know, even the one I've got now. And you know, I'm actually very, very much into McLarens now. But Ferrari and the thought of a Ferrari and chasing a Ferrari, as well as other stuff as well, don't get me wrong, you know, got me through tough times and got me through many years. But when I eventually get in the position to be able to buy a Ferrari, it might end up being me walking into a McLaren, you know, dealership and buying it. So, you know, the actual specific goal that you have actually doesn't matter. It's more important, I think, that you just have a goal that takes you on a journey as well. We had a question from Media as well, but I think Media, very sorry, we're gonna have to tackle that. Oh no, we can do it now. We can do it now. So there was another question from a V Kapoor. I don't know who that is, but it said, for Myresh, why are you a weirdo? And Myresh was kind enough to answer it in the chat. And he said, not sure. I think you rubbed off on me. And I think the reply that V Kapoor is saying to that is, you would love me rubbing off on you, but that's never going to happen. So keep dreaming. But the real question is what advice would you give to upcoming owners on achieving their goals, regardless of all the things that are happening around us? Peter, would you like to? I'm gonna pass that to you.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
We want to wrap up. Shall we, do like?
I'll be really quick.
2-3 sentences each, maybe literally like 1 minute each. Maybe we just give advice and wrap up. Yeah, shall we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's
And then we'll start the conclusion.
Yeah. Like I think ownership is like being a BA, but.
Oh, you want to mute or something, Peter?
Yeah, we've lost Peter. We've lost Peter.
So,
Alice, I'm going to pass it on to you while Peter's got technical issues. Alice, we cannot hear you either. Alice, we cannot
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
So I think the main advice I will give you, to keep it extremely short, is play your own game. Obviously, you need to know what's your game first of all, and it all goes back to these goals and to everything what we spoke so far. But once you know what you really want, you really need to play your own game, and just be that focused. So yeah, that was the shortest advice, and I'm sure it made sense to a lot of people.
Cool. So guys, we're going to finish up now. There's some prior engagements with that. I just got one very quick question to ask you all. That I was sent a private question directly to me, and I'm actually going to refer it all to you. So Minde, we'll start with you. Why am I wearing sunglasses indoors?
Because you can, Michelle.
Alice, why am I wearing sunglasses indoors? Reese, will come to you. Reese, why am I wearing sunglasses indoors?
Because you are Vishal Kapoor.
Thank you. Marish, why am I wearing sunglasses indoors?
Because you're a Bollywood superstar, mate.
Marish,
can I rephrase? I know the real answer. Because you probably light facing in your face so much, so you can actually light yourself up.
That was the actual answer. So for the gentleman who messaged me directly, I've got a light bulb right. You could probably see it in the reflection. And the actual truth is that Myrish probably wishes that he bought his sunglasses as well. He's like, oh, shit. He looks
so cool. Next week now as well.
He looks so cool. And now Myrish is going to look for his own gimmick next week, innit? We're going to wear Santa's hat.
I'm going to come with blue ones next week.
I'm sure you will, but it won't look as cool as me. But guys, I think we'll finish it up there. Thank you for joining. Obviously, thanks for all the guys who asked questions and came to watch. This was our inaugural one. There will be changes and differences as we kind of move forward. And you guys obviously got a bit of freedom to let us know what you like from us. But today was just kind of an introduction. Let us know each other a bit. Let's share some stories, answer a couple of questions, and then kind of take from there. The plan is Friday, 6 p.m. kind of weekly. And yeah, any outgoing words from any of you guys?
All good.
All good.
All good.
Yeah.
No problem. So for the guys joining the Tony Robbins seminar, have a lot of fun. And for everyone else, we'll see you when we see you. So have a good evening, guys.
See you.
Yeah.
Cool. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Right.
Wicked.